Out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there. When the soul lies down in that grass, the world is too full to talk about. Ideas, language, even the phrase each other doesn't make sense. Hi everyone. Today I introduce my friend Junior. I respect him immensely for his commitment to service in recovery. As you will hear from our conversation, these obligations take some balancing, and at stages, part of his spiritual journey is to step back in order to be good to himself. I got to know Junior a lot better since living in Somerset West, where he is a pivotal part of the fellowship. Let's hear what he has to say about the path he has walked to get him where he is today. Hey Junior, how are you doing?
Good, thank you. And yourself, Freddie?
I'm well, thank you very much. Thank you very much for coming through. I really appreciate the time you're taking to come and talk to us. How long is it that we've known each other?
5 years.
5, somewhere around there.
Yeah, something, yeah.
When I got to know you, you were a very, very shy young man. Very, very quiet. You actually looked constantly befuck. Were you kind of going through a difficult period in your life? Were you struggling?
Freddie, I think the first time you saw me was in Cape Town in the afternoons, lunchtimes.
Yes.
At a meeting at that period of my life. Well, I was just happy to not be at work. I worked as a construction worker. I was actually quite tired.
Okay.
More than anything else. Just it's physical. I did physical hard labor, so.
So by the time you sat down, you were really kind of fucked. It was actually quite nice to just sit down for a while.
Yeah,
cool.
So I wasn't feeling unhappy, I was just tired.
Okay.
Which could look the same.
Yeah, I understand that completely. Okay, so that was at the lunchtime meeting in Cape Town. Were you new to recovery then?
No, not at all. I was 2-3 years clean. I was clean previously. So I think when I met you I was 25, and I came into the meetings when I was 18, so I had quite a bit of knowledge leading up to that point of recovery.
So that was a 7-year journey up till then, and now it's nearly 8 years again, am I right?
Yes.
Cool.
Next year.
Junior, so $1 million question. This is a podcast about spiritual journeys. Have you had a spiritual journey in your life?
Definitely, I think so. When I'm thinking of spirituality, I think of feeling spiritual for some reason. Recovery is a strange thing where recovering addicts tend to take on too much. And at that point, I was unclogging my life a bit. I found I took on too much. And I literally started physically resting a lot more. Yeah, and it started attending more meetings. And I actually started plugging back into the program and into my higher power, and could honestly feeling calmer, more relaxed. Recovery, or at least the 12 steps, is a simple program for complicated people.
Mm-hmm.
I can only speak of my own experience. I tend to overcomplicate it. I'll take on more than I can chew, and so what I found works for me best is to just keep it simple and relax, not be laziness, but not physically push myself on my stress levels, so that I have more time just to get in contact with my power. And I think when there's too many things going on in my life, it's difficult for me to really concentrate and listen to my higher power.
So what I'm hearing is you're saying that spirituality is kind of a feeling for you, and that feeling is based in when you're good to yourself and when not. And when you feel that you're not being good for you, then you need to make certain changes to your life to put yourself in a better state, in a better physical, mental place.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's basically that whole thing is in our past lives we fucked ourselves up, and in recovery we don't do that. We need to learn to make healthy decisions, do things that are good for us.
Yes.
Junior, did you grow up with a sense of spirituality, with church or a God or spirituality? Did you grow up with that?
I did, and I am still Christian. I never really struggled with the concept of a higher power or finding an higher power coming into recovery. This is one of those topics when it comes up in meetings, I rarely have something to say. I just lost my connection.
Due to addiction?
Yeah, due
Okay.
to addiction, and there was a period in my recovery I went to church. I don't anymore at the moment. It's God as I understand it, or like Christianity as I understand it. I just don't completely feel I fit when I'm at church. It's not because they are not accommodating. People are generally friendly. I struggle to go and just we're just not on the same level. It's not like when I'm sitting in a meeting. But yeah, when I work the program, I'm in touch with my higher power, and I had no problems with the higher power. I just dwelled away from my higher power, and
So your higher power is the religious God.
yeah.
Cool. Even though you connect quite nicely with the higher power, that it's the organized religion that you struggle with?
No, not at all. Strangely enough, I grew up in here church, and I actually feel more. I like Catholicism more, which is like stricter in a way.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I actually just like that branch of Christianity. There are obvious things that I'll ignore, and like
Take what you need and leave the rest.
yeah, like you see, the thing about meetings is it's the fellowship. It's like a brotherhood, but there we get to know each other on a much more personal level than I think even people at church would get to know each other, normal people. And that's just it. I don't feel at church like I can probably tell them, hey, look, I've been through this, but they can't relate. And I like to be able to relate to someone can relate to me, to have that special connection. I just don't think that even the people at church have that necessarily, will ever be able to get that same connection as we in meetings do. I got no problems with specifically with organized religion. Strangely enough, I like the branch of Christianity, the more conservative, most organized branch. I find it strangely the most spiritual. In my mind, if I go to church, I know this. I'm experiencing it my own way.
Yeah.
I'm not even concentrating on trying to experience it like anybody else. I think it's such second nature for me to just enjoy it, everything the way I understand it, because nobody understands the same thing exactly the same way. Even pure Christians, I mean, everybody sees something in their own unique way.
Totally so.
So I'd rather go to a meeting than go to church. But if I had more time, I'd go sit there. I wouldn't necessarily get as involved. I just know by my nature is I wouldn't get very involved like I am in NA.
Yeah.
I'd maybe just go and attend maybe once a week. Actually, like mass more than the actual service. Mass is like an half an hour.
Okay.
The shorter the better. I don't know. As long as if I get a nice feeling out of it, if it's not hurting anybody, then by all means, and I'm not one to go and preach the word of God either. I like, this is my journey, and if someone asks me something, I'll answer the question. But otherwise, I won't speak of something. I'll only always try and help where I see I can.
You're amazing with that. Your commitment to service is really beyond exemplary. Does it come naturally for you?
Very much so. okay, let me put it like this. If I do something, a routine is very easy for me to get into. So if I went to the Stellenbosch in a Monday night meeting for 4 years, every Monday without skipping a meeting.
Wow.
My service is the same. If I take on service, if I take on anything in my life, I will do it. My commitment will be 100%, and sometimes it will be for better or worse. So I've went to meetings where I was very sick and I should have stayed at home. I wouldn't have relapsed by staying at home. I could have gone to another meeting where I felt better. I probably did myself physically more harm than good by going to the meeting in the state I was. So it's a if I have to honestly evaluate it, sometimes the way I approach everything by being very committed, it's not always good for me necessarily, because I tend to cling on to something. Flexibility isn't in my nature. So
one of your virtues.
No. So it's a good thing in most cases, but I need to know when to let go, and I struggle. It's happened with me in relationships. So I'll stay with someone for better or worse, and it is definitely for worse for me. So I'd put myself through,
hell, which you could have stopped.
Yes. So in some instances, like when doing service, it's very good because I'm committed. But then on a personal level, it would be bad because I don't know when to walk away. I always look at what's the positive and the negative.
I like what you're saying, because for me, one thing that I really like about myself in recovery is you can now trust me. If I say I'm going to do something, chances are 98% that I'll do it. Because commitment for me is a spiritual principle. And in active addiction, I wasn't trustworthy. It actually leaves a kind of a nauseating feeling in my stomach. So in recovery, if I say I'm going to do something, that's a commitment. And for me, that's a spiritual principle, and that's what I stick to. So I really like that from your side as well. You grew up in Stellenbosch.
Yes.
Junior, you started using at school.
Yes.
How did that happen?
In high school? No, well...
Fuck knows.
It really is... friends of mine were bunking, and then they were going to go smoke some dacha. I used to bunk quite a lot. So when I heard they were going to go do it, I didn't necessarily want to go do it, but there was something that told me they can't do it before I did it, or I don't know, something just told me go along. And then I asked to smoke, and then and that was in standard 8, grade 10. And then I had a friend at my grade 11, standard 9, but December holiday, we wanted to take some LSD, and we took it. And I never really looked back. And then he only visited for the holidays, and then I carried on after the holidays. And then there was another friend, and he used something harder. It was a bit strange for the year that I started using. I mean, now it's bad, but back then there wasn't as many pupils that did those stuff.
I remember I was at varsity, and I said to somebody, I won't know if the person next to me is smoking a joint. I had no idea what it smelled like. I had no idea what the effects were. I was completely innocent. People just didn't do that. Well, not the people that I was friends with. It was so weird. And I also said, because I studied psychology, I feel I need to do it so that I can experience. So if I do see clients that have problems with it, I can at least relate in some way.
Yeah.
So it sounds as if your progression was quite fast, from about 16 to starting to use to 18.
Yes, it was very fast, and I actually stopped when I was 22. No, actually, I stopped when I was 20, and then I stopped for 23 months, and then I relapsed for 9 months, and since then I've been clean. The progression was fast. I've spent much more time in recovery than did using drugs. It was in total maybe 2-3 years.
Wow.
In which that small period it was quite progressive and
And did you go through the whole Sunday school thing and got confirmed in
No,
church?
I didn't, because when we were supposed to do that, we went to go smoke dacha outside. We just couldn't actually.
At church? Are you serious?
Yeah, we went, and I mean, we really honestly wanted to, but we wanted to smoke dacha more than do that. So
Oh my word.
we were very split between like we should be doing it, like, and then my one friend became all psychotic,
Oh my word.
yeah, because of the dacha. He locked himself. We went to go smoke in a cemetery, and then he ended up going to sit in his room, reciting or reading the Bible out loud. And I didn't feel bad. I didn't think, because the way I was taught Christianity was actually very. It's not like it was taught in apartheid years. I was taught not the God of fear. I was taught
Okay.
the God of love. My best friend at school's dad was a E008 Dominee, that same church I went to, and he really was even if I still think of him today, he's a really spiritual guy, and he never forced the stuff down on us. He really
wow.
he let us be.
So you had a positive experience.
Very,
unlike
very.
kind of mine. I remember one church service so clearly where the reading was about being lukewarm in Christianity. So either you're really hot, you're a hot Christian, like, and you're really active, or you're dead. And apparently that reading said, either be hot or cold, but don't be luke, because if you luke, then God's going to spit you out. And I remember that so well. I'll never forget that kind of, the dominee kind of face went all red and it spit you out. And I felt kind of, all I felt was such shame, because I thought, I'm not a hot Christian and I'm definitely not dead. So I'm in that category that's being spat out.
No,
So I never felt as if I fitted in.
Yeah, I know a lot of people experience that same thing, but I mean, my friend whose father was the Dominee, he knew the troubles I went through, and he even through the church helped organize me jobs, trying to get me back on my feet. They never judged me, never turned their backs on me. They were very understanding people. So like when I came into NA and I heard all this, the NA church is they preaching that it's a God of fear. I was like, I don't know where you're coming with that.
Yeah.
It's like that's not what I came from a very nice gemeenskap.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, they were forgiving.
Having had a fight with my mom once, and I said to her, I feel about you the way I feel about God. I don't know whether I should love you or fear you. And for me, those two are mutually exclusive. You couldn't love and fear the same thing. So I found Christianity so difficult to grasp, and I think because of because of a sermon like that one, where I felt just not, I don't belong, I'm going to be spat out.
Yeah, and actually,
awful.
I smoked with two of the dominees of that gemeenskap's sons. So
therefore, it made it very easy for you, because you said in active addiction you moved away from religion. So when you came into recovery, did you find it easy to just slot back in?
Yeah, I didn't move away from religion. I just moved away from God.
Okay.
I lost the connection.
Yeah.
The connection just wasn't there, because I just didn't follow his will. I just did what the hell I wanted to.
Okay.
I felt bad about it, but I didn't. I moved away because that interfered with using. But yeah, I just did not have a connection. I mean, if you put drugs in front of an addict and you give him a choice, drugs or something else, he's always going to choose drugs. So I mean,
confirmation or dacha, choose.
Yeah, and I mean, that's exactly what happened. So it wasn't difficult for me just to get back in. You know, everybody knew that everybody had their own problems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was accepted and acceptable, and that was completely okay.
And everybody's working towards.
God, it sounds like the rooms of NA.
It was maybe that's why I managed to click in with NA as easily as I did. I never had a bad experience with religion. Actually, only I only found tolerance and love. And the only reason I don't sit in church as much is that, what do you call it, the brotherhood or the fellowship is just, you get to know the people in NA like a lot more
intimately,
than even the people in church would. Get to learn each other.
Yeah.
So, but I have no problem sitting there. I just don't.
Did you find during your 9-month relapse that God connection was immediately severed? Like a lot of people say that's the first thing that goes.
It went before the relapse. That's probably why the relapse happened. And I just don't think my recovery was a good recovery, because I was put in a rehab for 8 months, as worker camp rehab, but there were 12 steps, but and then when I left after 8 months, my parents told me, if you relapse you will come back here for 2 years.
Oh my word.
So I went to NA and I stayed clean out of fear of going back.
Yeah.
So I didn't really do it because I wanted to. I did it out of fear, and eventually the fear kind of left. And I didn't, that and myself not working a really good program. So I don't really think I ever had a really good connection.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And so, but the connection, I got my connection back, I think a year or two into recovery. I started going back to the church that I used to be at. I found something there.
What's your recovery giving you that you didn't have previously?
Well, you see, the thing about, for me, is I stopped so young. So I didn't have anything. I didn't lose any, I didn't lose a house and a car, material things that a lot of people accumulated and then lost. I realized at the end of my addiction, I was never gonna accumulate anything. I wasn't gonna grow as a person. I wasn't gonna. One of the biggest things was my relationships were just horrible. The people around me, it was just horrible relationships, and I realized that I wouldn't be able to build any meaningful relationships. So material things are not a big thing for me. It's more about the relationships with people that I have in my life and how I interact with people. Just having people in my life, worthwhile people, caring people like yourself, people I know I can rely on, that would call me, that would call me and know they can rely on me.
Yeah. Because you've got a large network, eh? You've got such a network of friends and acquaintances.
Yes,
in recovery.
Even yourself, yeah. I've spread myself very thin through NA, through doing service and attending a lot of meetings, and also having done that over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
I've got to learn a hell of a lot of people, and I'm one of those people that I'm always at the meetings.
Yeah.
So when people come into the meetings, the newcomers, I'm one of the first people they meet.
Yeah.
My name is on the meeting list and my phone number, so I get to know some of the people before they even get into the meetings.
It's quite a nice feeling.
Yeah.
When somebody walks into a meeting and I spoke to that one. I'm glad to see him here. That's really awesome.
Yes, yeah, definitely. So I like knowing a lot of people. I'm in sales, so, and I'm on the road all day. So I actually, besides for meetings, and I actually just in general know a hell of a lot of people.
So you like people?
In general, I don't. Yeah.
Do you find it easy to talk to them?
Yeah. I like talking to people, even non-addicts. I like listening to people's experiences and just hear where they come from. Yeah, I used to be in construction, like I said, and now I'm in sales. So, yeah.
And that's sales for yourself?
Sales for myself. I enjoy talking to people.
Yeah.
And it's easy for me to do a job which I enjoy. Even normal people have struggles, and I like how people, talking to people and seeing different attitudes and different outlooks, and
so you've got a general interest, which is lovely.
Yeah.
Do you know what's the one thing that you would say you still struggle with in life? Or have you aced it? Have you aced this thing called life?
I don't think I've aced this thing called life. Sometimes I think I could. I do like a lot of meetings and a lot of service. So I'm trying to do less service, and I think I can just do. I can do a bit less and just rest a bit more physically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it sounds as if you now where you were a few years ago, where you overextended yourself
Yes.
and need to pull back.
Yes, that, and I'm working on that at the moment, just simplifying things. I feel I could, by focusing on 2 or 3 meetings and doing service in those meetings, or at least in the subcommittees that I'm in I could be doing more effective
Yeah.
service as opposed to not as effective service. And yeah, so I'm trying to go back to that place where I feel calmer and more in touch with my higher power.
When I think of you, I think of somebody that is really living recovery.
No, thank you.
Because you do so much service. And so the question that comes to mind is, how do you listen to your higher power?
Well, my higher power is, you see, I've heard people say that they can't trust their conscience. This is people in recovery, but you know, I know what I think, and I know what my higher power wants me to do. I don't know why. I always had that. Look, I moved away from it. I stopped thinking what would my higher power want me to do, and thus I kind of started forgetting, completely not knowing what it is that I should do. But as I stayed in the program, I think in the one fellowship they say we will intuitively know what to do in situations that used to baffle us.
Yeah.
And by being in the program, I intuitively know what to do in quite a large number of situations and scenarios, and I take that as what my higher power would want me to do. And it always is a loving and caring act.
Okay. So it sounds as if that you've always had a significant sense of morality. So all you need to do is connect with that morality, and for you it's as easy as that.
Yes, by going to the meetings, when I sit in a meeting, then I connect. By being a part of the program on a regular basis, as I am, always it keeps me connected. I always strive to look at what would be the most spiritual thing to do, what would be the correct thing to do. So if I don't know, I think about it, and then I would ask my higher power for guidance, or I would just ask someone. Sometimes if I don't know, I would think my higher power would probably want me to ask someone in the meetings, and if someone in the meetings gave me some guidance, then I'd take that guidance as coming from above.
Okay. Yeah.
So
God speaks to you through other people.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah, and through, if I see an interest, if I read something, interesting that makes sense, or if I see something interesting on TV that makes sense as how to handle a situation, then I would remember it, and maybe it helps me at some point.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's something I work on every day. I'm always thinking, what would my higher power want me to do here?
Through your subcommittee work, you're getting to know the literature really, really well.
Yeah.
Do you find that the more knowledge you gain, kind of an intellectual process, that your spirituality is growing, which is a heart process?
I don't think no amount of knowledge would help me or prevent me from using. This is a program of action. Faith without works is dead. Yeah, I gain a lot of knowledge, and like I said, or like I've been told, or as I read, we will intuitively know how to handle situations that used to baffle us. So there are more and more. The more knowledge I gather, the more and more I intuitively know how to handle.
Okay.
A very, very, very wide range of situations, and every smallest strange scenario that could happen if this happened or that happened. I've got a lot of knowledge as to how to handle all these strange scenarios. Although I know I will lose that knowledge if I don't use it, or if I don't constantly think of it, if I don't constantly remind myself of it and read up on it. It's something I need to do every day.
Yeah. So if you don't use it, you lose it.
Exactly. It's as simple as that.
That's what scares me about people stop coming to meetings and those type of things. I'm definitely not afraid of relapse anymore. Yes, I don't want to relapse, but I don't live in fear of it anymore. Why would I want to take the chance? That's my argument. I'll rather do what I need to do. I think I'm quite blessed because I enjoy meetings. I do 2 meetings a week, and that's enough for me. And I enjoy those 2 that I go to. And I don't make it negotiable. And it makes life so much easier. Last question, Junior, and I ask that to all the people. Are you happy?
Yeah, I would say I'm happy. Obviously, I'm not going to be happy 24/7, but in general, yes, I got there are things where there are parts of the day when my mood just, I don't feel as excited, but I feel optimistic about life. I enjoy my life. I feel I'm living it to the fullest.
That's fantastic. Because you gym quite a lot as well. You gym every day.
Yeah, 5 days a week. So actually what I've started discovering is to just also have something besides actually NA and the meetings.
So between gymming, recovery, working for yourself, you're in a relationship.
Yes, also.
There must be very, very little time for you. Do you still do step work and see a sponsor and all those type of things?
Yeah, that's the one area I haven't concentrated on for a while.
Because it's just not it doesn't sound as if there's time.
No, there isn't time. But shouldn't be an excuse. So I do realize that if I scale down, that I could then have time to do that.
Yeah.
And I should get to do that. Even though I personally don't feel there's anything specifically wrong, I do see the need in maintenance.
Yeah.
And rather prevention is better than cure.
Absolutely.
So I'd rather, stop a problem before it becomes a problem.
Cool. So what I'm hearing from you, in summary, it sounds as if your journey isn't anything like an into spirituality. Your journey is in spirituality. It's always been there. All you did was at stages just to kind of detours away from it, but slid back into it very, very quickly, and you're living it on a daily basis, and you're happy.
No.
That's fantastic. That's a very nice message to give to somebody. So thank you. Thank you very, very much. Appreciate it immensely. Have a wonderful evening.
Same to you. Thank you.
I found part of Junior's story really entertaining, but generally love the message of hope he brings with him. I find it inspiring how he finds it so easy to drift back into his religion once he has drifted away. He seems to have found a most rewarding spiritual home, and I wish him all of the best on the rest of his journey. If you want to know more about what I do, please feel free to contact me on my website, which is www.freddy.org.za, or find me on Facebook, www.facebook.com/freddy.org.za, or on Twitter at @RensburgFreddy. Remember that Freddy is always spelled with an IE at the end. Be safe. Bye.